Wren walked along the edge of the known world looking for coins to steal. A few coppers would do. A silver piece would be even better. Her escape fund was almost complete, and soon she'd be sailing for the great spice-trading city of Ancora. Her eyes darted across the rocks, searching for the dull gleam of metal. She had been doing this for so many years that it had become second nature. It was forbidden, of course, but she had a worthy goal. Leaving Edgeland would mean the end of stealing, from the living and the dead. A spray of mist dampened Wren's face as she gazed off into the drain, a massive circular waterfall almost 30 miles in diameter, into which all the water in the ocean drained. This close, it was hard to see anything but the churning water. On rare occasions, you could see the far side of the waterfall. Today, the late afternoon sky was dark with clouds, and visibility was low. After a few seconds, Wren turned away. She wasn't there to gape. She was there to work. Wren stood on the uppermost level of the ramparts, an ancient seawall that circled the drain. There was a road on top with lookouts, and vents at the bottom that allowed water to pass through but kept big ships from being pulled in. Most of the ships that sailed through these waters were headed to Edgeland, a nearby island, which sat just a few miles from the drain. Wren lived here. It was composed almost entirely of bone houses, which blessed and processed dead bodies. A burst of chanting grabbed Wren's attention. Up ahead, a group of religious pilgrims had gathered around a priest. Such scenes were typical on the ramparts. Suns and shadows both believed that the drain was the gateway to the afterlife, and both sent their dead into the drain. They threw coins into the water, too, hoping the bits of gold and silver would reach their loved ones. Once in a while, when Wren was feeling lonely, she'd flick a coin into the drain for her mother, who'd died 4 years ago in a boating accident. Wren sometimes liked to picture her down there, in a happy place glimmering with mist. But today she had no time to daydream. She gave the pilgrims a wide berth as she passed by. They were shadows, wearing their customary silver prayer robes. It was unusual to see them during the daylight hours. "Sinners!" their priest yelled. "Turn from evil and embrace the shadow, so we can drown the serpent of fear." The others punched the air with their fists and chanted, "The shadow, the shadow, the shadow." They began passing a cloth-swaddled bundle. It was a baby. Eventually, it came to rest in the hands of the priest, a tall, fat man in a shimmering cloak and ornate silver crown. The priest's name was Frederick, though his enemies called him Fat Freddy. Wren didn't know him personally, but she'd seen him and his followers. People said he was a firebrand, but as far as Wren could tell, Frederick was nothing more than a bully in fancy robes. To provoke the Sons, he gathered his followers during daylight hours and led them in loud prayers. Fat Freddy was playing a dangerous game. In this part of the world, thousands of miles due south from the polar north, the rule of light was strictly observed. During the 72 hours of day, the Sons ruled and could do as they pleased, while the 72 hours of night belonged to the shadows. Fat Freddy and his shadows didn't even glance at Wren as she walked past. She looked like nothing more than a poor sun girl, her frayed yellow cloak draped over her head and body. They would have been shocked to see that the cloak's inner lining was silver, which meant she could pass as a shadow when she wanted. It was illegal to own such a robe, even worse than Fat Freddy's disobeying the rule of light. But for a thief like Wren, a reversible cloak came in handy. Wren could still see Fat Freddy and his shadows in the distance when she stopped abruptly, blinking away the mist. A coin glittered near the rampart's edge. Usually, Wren found coppers, but this was a dinar from the eastern crags, made of gold and inset with the jadeite nugget. It was a once-in-a-lifetime find. Wren glanced around, looking for the sentries who patrolled the ramparts. As she knew too well, it was a serious crime to steal from the dead,